Welcome to the Stone World Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Camry, and with me today is Fabio Cruz, the Vice President of Central Rojas. Fabio, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jason. Glad to be here.
Of course, awesome, fantastic. So I'm excited to talk to you today because a lot of times in these podcasts, we talk to people in the States and we get their perspective. And there's a lot of interesting things going down in Brazil, especially with shipping. I mean, that's going to be a topic we talk about a lot. And I'm excited to cover that, talk a bit about COVID, talk about the Brazilian stone market. But before we do, if you don't mind, just for the people that are listening, introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Yeah, sure. So Fabio Cruz have been in the industry for a little over 20 years. I've helped American and Brazilian companies with business expansion and sales strategies in the industry. And in the last 3 years, I was elected the vice president of the board of Central Rochas. Central Rochas is a national entity, Brazilian Center of Ornamental Stone Exporters. And just recently, I've helped leading the movement among all Brazilian exporters that resulted in a new industry agreement with Apex Brazil, which is Brazilian Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. Well, that's a little bit about me.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So one of the big questions, unfortunately, COVID's still taking place, in the States and around the world. And as Americans, we have a tendency to kind of just focus only on ourselves and how it's affecting us. But, how has COVID impacted you all down in Brazil?
Well, we're facing several different challenges, but I don't think it's any different than most of the other countries. We've got all kinds of issues, but especially political ones. There are challenges, but I think the worst it's already past us. We're improving, getting better. We've been vaccinating a lot lately, so I think we're close to an end. I would say at least the worst is, like I said, has already passed.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And that's really all you can really try to do, right? It's just slowly, continuously improve, get better, and just keep heading in the right direction,
Yeah, exactly. And there's no silver bullet about what is going on. So there's so many different things you have to do, you have to work on. It's a really complex problem to solve.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I kind of feel for a lot of these businesses because you all have had to operate in this space now for a year and a half at least and figure all this out, figure these new, challenges out. And now hopefully, we're going back to normal, but all that, I don't know if it gets thrown away, but you have to change again as a business. I mean, that has to be tough too.
Well, I agree 100%. I think it's such a learning experience for our generation that there's not really a very long-term planning anymore. We have to build our businesses based on how quick you can adapt to different things. I think that's crucial, and we're learning that right now. If you're not able to move quickly, you're done. So yeah.
Absolutely. And, going right along with that, with adapting and challenges for businesses, the big thing in the United States is shipping issues. I mean, we're just seeing it all over the place in the United States. And I always like to clarify when I talk to fabricators because they make it seem like it's a blank statement that no matter what you're doing in the world, there's shipping logistical issues. And while that's true, the majority of our issues are east to west, right? East to west shipping lanes. But it seems like maybe from Brazil to the United States, it's a little bit better. Is that the case? What are you seeing with shipping?
I think you have a correct statement. I would say the entire world is facing logistic challenges due to COVID, of course, but Brazil has also its own issues, like lack of infrastructure, too much dependence on road model, and lack of efficiency in our ports. which makes us somewhat less attractive to shipping lines when compared to other countries. But we were seriously working on all of those problems when COVID hit. But now our weaknesses are a little more pronounced. The good thing is that I believe our companies, the export companies, now understand the market must be seen from a different perspective, not only from a supply and demand perspective, but also from a logistic standpoint. As a country, I think we will improve our assets and capabilities internally so we can continue offering our products in a very reliable way. I truly believe that.
That's good to hear. And that's a good point too, with just the logistics issue, because you're right. In the past, it's just been supply and demand. That's it. But now it's to the point of, well, if they can't even get the product,
exactly.
They obviously can't meet the demand. So
exactly. I think we never really paid, when I say we, exporters in general, of stones, we never really paid that much attention to logistics, but now it's a completely different situation. We're learning that we have to fight for having a better distribution of our products, how to get faster transit times. So we're paying really close attention to those things.
So out of curiosity, what are some of the steps that would be taken to do those things in Brazil? I mean, obviously, COVID still hampers a lot of that, but let's say, we're back to normal. What steps are taken then to improve that efficiency and those transportation lines?
Well, I think there's an enormous opportunity in Brazil when it comes to infrastructure. And for example, foreign investors have already seen that. Within the last 2-3 years, there has been remarkable projects being initiated in infrastructure, but also in ports specifically. I would, just an example, I would highlight a couple of them to you. The Imetame port here in the state of Espírito Santo that just started being built 2 months ago. And the Pecém port in northeast of Brazil, which is a joint venture between the state of Ceará and Rotterdam port in the Netherlands. This project in particular has a strategic goal to become Brazil's main logistical and port hub until 2050. So all of that being said, what's going to happen? Well, I think a lot of potential solutions between the U.S. and Brazil as far as logistics. Those things won't happen overnight, but that's kind of what I'm talking about.
No, those are good things, and I think obviously it helps Brazil, but it really helps the states too, because like I said, our shipping lanes east to west have just been a mess. Nobody's getting anything anywhere close to on time, especially as business up here is still just full throttle. Everyone's super busy. So it's always important to have those different options. Yeah.
I like I said, these are big problems to solve, but they're also good problems to have, because we're talking about a great demand that we need to meet. So we need to work on those.
Absolutely. So I guess talking about the Brazilian stone market in general, how's it looking? Because like I said, out here, business has really picked up. A lot of fabricators were worried, and suppliers, distributors were worried during the pandemic that business was going to shut down. It turns out people were stuck at home all day. They wanted to buy things for their house and make it better. So what has the stone market been like in Brazil?
You just described the Brazilian stone market. I think Brazil domestic market has a huge potential. It's a very large country, and of course we have different characteristics in different regions. But overall, I think we have an underdeveloped market over here. as far as our internal trends, we might be a little behind comparing to European and North American markets, but it's good. That way we know what's coming, correct? But it's a very odd situation. So many sectors of the economy are facing a real downturn, but the stone market is totally different. There's a lot. People are really they care about building their houses, improving or remodeling their apartments. So there's a great demand domestically as well.
So as far as exports from Brazil within the stone market, not just the United States but around the world, has there been an increase to other countries as well? And the reason I ask this is because I'm personally, anyone that knows me, I talk about this a lot. I'm a big fan of Brazilian stone. We have Brazilian, countertops, granite in our kitchen. We always thought the value was really good. The shipping lanes were really good. Like they were great, beautiful materials, and they were like this thing that was never pushed as much. And it was always kind of sad to see, from an outsider's perspective in the States. So I was curious if your exports not only to the United States have increased, but just to other regions around the world.
We can see that the demand in certain areas of the world, it's also increasing, but nothing like not even close to what the US is showing.
Okay.
I guess the combination of the incentives and the economy and low interest rates in the US, it just makes it a perfect scenario for increasing the demand. So my answer is yes, but nothing even close to what the US is facing.
All right, fantastic. So, it's hard to predict the future, obviously, and we'll try our best guess. So this is, of course, just us kind of guessing. But looking toward the future, as hopefully COVID continues to wane, as shipping lanes open, do you see any other issues that have to be overcame in the Brazilian market to get stones up to the United States, or kind of once COVID goes away, things are good? What do you see moving forward?
No, I think as I mentioned, I think there are issues that we need to work on, but I feel like all of them are being properly addressed. We are working on all of them, and especially after COVID passes, we're definitely gonna expedite that whole process. So, and in the future, I really think I really see Brazil continuing to be U.S. main stone supplier from the world.
All right, perfect. Well, Fabio, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. It was great, talking and learning more about this.
Jason, thank you so much. Appreciate it, and always available.